we are going to be having our match FLIPPA FLOPPA versus Kagura coming up next. The first map that we would like to talk about, as everyone is just finalizing up to join the lobby, is Clam Blitz Scorch Gorge. I want to see if we have a heavy or a heavy/rapid pro versus sniper matchup. I'm very interested to see that. Or if teams just want to go full speed.
This is something that you mentioned earlier, is you are really looking forward to seeing Kagura on the heavy, which is the weapon, if I recall correctly, that they use to get to that very phenomenal 39,000 X power, once again being the world record holder in that regard. I would like to mention that both of these teams lost 1-3 to Starburst, who is waiting for whoever wins this set on the grand final side of the bracket. So this is going to be tooth and nail. Both of these teams going to fight to the very bitter end because they have their rematch waiting for them.
Yeah, and you always want to have that rematch, no matter who you are. I know I actually got to meet both Q and Leafy and Kyo all at Big. I was going to LAN. Shoutouts to go to LANs. Always a good time. Always so much fun. But actually, it was Kyo and Leafy. They were on the same team together. They played together. They got second to Starburst together. So that would be a funny thing. Both of them want to have a shot at beating Starburst again, but they have to go through each other first.
And what a phenomenal storyline that is, right, Jeannie? Both of these teams having been eliminated on the winner's side of the bracket to the infamous and diabolical and heavy-handed Starburst. Brilliant, fantastic players on both of these teams, including Starburst. Every single one of them has played with each other at some point in the course of their competitive careers. So these are their friends, these are their peers, these are people that they've played with and taking victories with and met at LANs, and you know, those are your pals. But regardless, it doesn't matter when it's tooth and nail. It doesn't matter when there's almost $2,000 on the line. So Kagura and FLIPPA FLOPPA, both a Western and Japanese pickup synergy that we got going on. On the side of Kagura, we have Q and Leafy, both very fantastic and talented and well-known Western players. And then also on the side of Kagura, you have Yuichichi on the Splash and Wami on the Stamper. For the side of FLIPPA FLOPPA, we've talked about Kyo, we've talked about Kagura, but we simply cannot ignore Reimaru and Naruda. Obviously, as well, fantastic Japanese players. So, my observation is that we are in a stage as a competitive scene where it's no longer Japan versus the West, and I know this is one tournament. Give me this moment. But it's Japan and the West versus Japan and the West. Just absolutely fascinating to see both of these teams here at each other's throats.
Yeah, I love to see the good camaraderie in the chat. I'm just looking at the battle plan. It's always just funny. They're just kind of chatting and vibing while we wait for the final players to ready up. I truly want to know how hard these teams fight off of the rip. I want to see if they respect each other, give each other space, or just go on an all-out offensive push right at the beginning. Because I've seen both these teams come out of the gates strong, depending on who they're playing. Sometimes against strong teams, they come out swinging and they get kind of put on their back. But other times, their playstyle is a little bit more reserved and waits for the other team to get a little bit of punishment in mid, and then they play with the offensive for the rest of the game.
And FLIPPA FLOPPA, both of these teams... we know FLIPPA FLOPPA, we're going to be expecting Double Splash Machine and Stamper. That's what we've been seeing the entirety of the time that they've been playing. And then on the side of Kagura, we can expect Triple Splash and a Stamper, or the same exact thing, the Machine Stamper, Double Splash Machine and Stamper.
I gotta interrupt you.
Mirror comps here.
Yuichichi fell asleep. That is the communications coming from Leafy. Yuichichi fell asleep, and they got a sub. So, yeah, that is interesting. I do not know exactly how long it will take to find the sub. I think they have it. They're just waiting to get them in there. But yeah, that's
It's very late in the tournament for a sub, my dudes. Yeah, alright, so if you're not betting on FLIPPA FLOPPA, now is your chance to change your vote, because to be in losers finals and have to get a sub who might not be as warm, who might not have developed some sort of sense of synergy and trust with these players over the course of the event, I'm curious who they're gonna find, but also, it's pretty late for that, my dudes.
Yeah, it is 7 a.m., so I don't blame them. They've been up all night playing this game. Just kind of fall asleep at your setup. I had a friend who did that, and you could hear him snoring away. Oh. But anyway, we are just gonna wait to find that out, and I don't know. It's hard to talk comms because we don't know who they're gonna bring. I don't believe we're allowed to bring in anyone that's already played in the tournament. So I don't think we can see Melon. I don't think we can see Clicks.
Just roll up to the plus servers at here +1 splash. 20xx dub.
You get a cut of the money. Oh, and it's Ghost. Ghost is coming in as the sub.
Whoa.
That's, you know what, that is hilarious. I hope Ghost gets a cut of the money, please.
Ghost.
And, oh, Majoro, the speed to add Ghost to the roster at the very end on our bracket, or on our screen here. That's crazy.
Shoutouts once again to Majora for making that very quick adjustment. Now, Ghost and Q play together a lot, so this is a good sub.
Yeah, this is a good sub. I don't know, because the synergy will be there. I don't know how Ghost is feeling, what Ghost is doing, but I feel like the synergy can be there because Leafy and Q and Ghost, I've seen them play in pickups and just in tournaments or even in open. So I don't feel like that would be too much of a problem. But your synergy throughout the tournament, that could cause maybe a little bit of pickup.
I hope Goss is ready to sweat, because that's where we're at. Everything's on the line at this point, regardless. You made it this far in the tournament, you're taking some Burger King money home in your pocket. Yeah, I mean, it's still very late. I'm sure the members of FLIPPA FLOPPA are pogging a little bit over the fact that this emergency sub was needed. Also, I'm sure that Goss is excited to be here. So maybe bringing some fresh energy, and like we discussed, these are half Japanese pickups. They're tired. It's 7 a.m. for them. They've been up all night, so maybe that little bit of an energy, because it's actually our time and we can function. Who knows? Who knows, Genie? But in terms of what Goss is going to be playing, Splash. So no adjustments in our comp. We are seeing FLIPPA FLOPPA with a triple, with a double Splash Stamper Machine comp as expected, and then in the purple, Kagura with the triple Splash and Stamper. So nothing out of the ordinary that we weren't expecting.
I'm sad that we're not going to see the heavy, but you know what? That's okay. It's in a dangerous position at the moment in the meta. This Climate game getting off to a little bit of a rough start for FLIPPA FLOPPA, as they've lost 2 of their members, but they do trade it back in return. Sorry, I mixed off here. It's going to be Kagura who's got the rules down, and now they're the ones that are trying to push them.
Now, Kagura in the purple, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. I heard a lovely friend of mine saying earlier that they hate watching these kinds of matches. They hate watching mirror matches. They hate watching triple splash. But I personally, playing devil's advocate here, find this very fascinating because of the fact that we're on extremely even playing fields, and it really is going to come down to who can simply out-mechanic or out-position each other. And to me, that is a very fascinating challenge of skill.
We don't see any major blows to any team. No one's actually made it up to the opposing team's pillow or up the ramp. This is finally going to be scenario. Nope, 2 down, 3 down from each team. The teams are just going back so tooth and nail, not giving up an inch. The splashes, not able to find anything with crazy burst bomb doubles. No crazy crab kills. Nothing out of the ordinary.
And these are incredibly even teams. Keep in mind that both of these teams lost 1-3 to start. So against the same opponent, applying the same result, these are teams of very equal skill. So I expect to see a lot of stalemates here. But the dunk from the power clam!
Yeah, they got the power climb in all the way down to 50 points, 45, make that, it keeps on going down to 36, FLIPPA FLOPPA. They are really running away with this game. Oh my goodness, all the way down to the 20 mark. This is crazy. I think they can still get some more clams going into this basket. This crab tank creating all this space. And the members of Kagura, they're nowhere to be found. They're all the way back in spawn, all the way down to 12. FLIPPA FLOPPA, they've got the game in their hand. They're going to put the clams away and the game away too. Wow, what a turn of events.
Making me eat my words. I say stalemate, and FLIPPA FLOPPA brings it to a 100-0 KO. Goss, it's time to get warmed up, buddy. You're in it. Fantastic and shocking game. It was a scrap. It was constantly having a member or two down in mid. It was tiptoeing into elbow, and then it was, hey, we're home. Knock knock. Yeah. And just the 100-0 KO on a clams game. That's always something to watch.
Yeah, knock knock indeed. I want to know, Skep. I'm trying to think, what does Kagura want to play as your counterpick? Oh, and we're gonna see it right away. Can you break this one down for me?
Yeah, we're going to be moving on to Splat Zone's Brinewater, and this is a game that we saw Kagura playing earlier. Keep in mind that this is the only game that Kagura won against Starburst. It was a 1-3 victory, so given that, you expect this to be one of their most favored maps. FLIPPA FLOPPA, we have not seen them. We have seen them play Splat Zone's Brinewater also against Starburst, and they lost that game. So both of these teams, having played this specific map mode against their infamous opponent, except one of them walked away with the W, and that was Kagura. And looking forward, I do expect to see very similar comps. I don't expect anything to change, except maybe, all things considered, having Kagura maybe a person switch to machine, because they did run Triple Splash. Triple Splash is very volatile in the fact that you have to physically wait for it to have special in order to have them look forward, Genie.
Yeah, I'm interested. They're just waiting. Just Goss is the last one to ready up. Just trying to, get caught up. It's hard to get up to speed in a tournament at this high caliber. It's not like just subbing in for a scrim. This is subbing in for a big money tournament. And here we go. Zones on Brinewater Springs.
And can Kagura do it, given that they've already won this particular map mode against the team that is waiting for them in grand finals? But as you've mentioned several times, Genie, the moment that Naigora ends up on that heavy is a moment to watch. And look at that change, dropping the machine for that heavy. But we have Q on her very, very famous leader.
I've gone up against Q's leader, and I gotta say, it is one of the most terrifying things to ever grace this planet. I would never want to play heavy into that thing at all. And somehow, Nagagora is doing a good job to stay alive.
Yeah, but we have Q staying alive as well, so backline v backline for the moment as this zone flips back and forth, like the tick-tock of a clock. As FLIPPA FLOPPA does clear those penalty points, that's good because now they have that crab ready to go. That crab coming out on that zone just going to look forward and stall out time as Kagura is 2 down.
This zone is got no penalty on it. FLIPPA FLOPPA is holding on to it. Q, she's trying to find some shots, gets her team back in with some jumps, even though it's not too far. If this gets out of hand for Kagura, this could be very dangerous. They are able to neutralize the zone, but not able to cap it. The crab tank is out. 2 members down from FLIPPA FLOPPA. Can the members of Kagura get to the zone? And they can. Finally able to get that penalty applied.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they need at this stage of the game. Their penalty is very narrow, given that they barely held on to the zone, but they do go 2 down in order to be able to try and hold that FLIPPA FLOPPA in Kagura's elbow, and that's not somewhere you want them to be. That's not somewhere you want them to be building crab, because then that's putting Q in a very vulnerable and volatile position. Look at all this forward paint that they have, Genie, to work forward with.
I've never seen a heavy escorting a team that's going to be going in with that Zipcaster to do so much damage, so much space. There's no penalty on the side of FLIPPA FLOPPA here. Kagura, they're so far back. They're using it. Leavy has to use a crab in her own spawn just to get out. I don't know if they're going to be able to get to the zone. They get some splats and they're trying to rush for it. There's a crab tank out from FLIPPA FLOPPA. Can it stall? No! It gets taken out, and in this zone, it should be neutralized and capped. Exactly what they needed.
Oh, go. Get into that zone. Get into their elbow, because right now the members of Kagura are just sitting in their own half of the map, and that's exactly why FLIPPA FLOPPA is able to cap and pop that wave breaker. Kagura getting the cap on that zone, but we're finding ourselves in a staggered 3v3 situation where that zone can just be recapped at any moment, and that's exactly what happens. FLIPPA FLOPPA comes back in, pins the zone, recaps, catches the one player that's alone up on that right side, and they're just deepening the stagger of Kagura needs to get in without losing any members and going fast and going quick.
What the heavy doing? What the dog doing? What's the heavy doing in the front lineup? I'd love to see it, but the zone it actually had a penalty applied to it, and there's no way you get away with that falling off shot while you're falling off the ledge. I love watching a good heavy do something like this because it's crazy, and the rest of them Kagura just get completely wiped out. What is happening in this game? FLIPPA FLOPPA, they're flipping and flopping all over Kagura. They have no answers.
Oh, flipping and flopping like a magic carp on Brinewater Springs, but coming along with that KO. What is that move that Magic Carp uses to
Splash?
Splash? Yes, you get it down to 1 HP and then it uses Splash and then it wins. Right?
Oh, you mean what?
I don't know.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's more like Endeavor with the focus sash, but no, we're having a Splatoon stream, not a Pokemon stream, and especially definitely not American football stream.
So Kagura is feeling the heat now. They need to cook this fish, and they need to be looking forward because FLIPPA FLOPPA has some momentum here, and this is not the set that I was expecting. I expected this to be very incredibly even and dicey and breathless and heart-stopping, but what we're seeing is a 100-0 KO on Clam Blitz, and then an extremely dominant lock and hold, followed by we're in your spawn with a heavy from FLIPPA FLOPPA. So Kagura needs answers and they need them quick, otherwise they are walking away with 3rd place.
Yeah, they're really, truly walking away with this. For Kagura, I don't know what they want to pick. When you lose on a map where you pick E-Liter into a heavy, that heavy should never ever be favored on. I start to get worried. We're gonna be going to Tower Control, Sturgeon, Shipyard. I hope this is enough for Kagura.
Okay, so hear me out. The leader is obviously very dominant on Tower Control Sturgeon. That leader is on your own side, great, has great visibility over all entrant points of mid, and it can hit those shots. You get to that first checkpoint, the leader can hit window, it can control a decent amount of port, tap, 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 and then you can start to snowball past that first checkpoint. My concern here is, do we see Naigora on a rapid? Because that rapid's just going to do a fantastic job of forcing that leader off of Snipe, forcing them to break their line of sight. And even a machine can fulfill a similar function as well, and we know Naigora has been playing that. This is match point for FLIPPA FLOPPA. They want that rematch with Starburst, and they can taste it. They can feel that this could be the game that sends them there. So Kagura's adjustments need to be fast, and they need to be confident, and they need to be strong and sure, because otherwise, even if they win this game, we're still looking at 2 more that they have to go through. So wake up. Drink some coffee, get out of your chair, do what you have to do, jump, scream, give us a war cry, whatever it has to be, you have to do it now, because FLIPPA FLOPPA looking straight down the barrel.
Yeah, they are looking good. They've got some meaty sauce that they are working with. They are trying to put this away. They want to get the Starburst as fast as possible so they don't fall asleep. We got to remember, both teams got JP players, and they've been up all night, and it's early morning. The sun is starting to rise in the land of the rising sun.
And this is the comp that we've been seeing. We're seeing Leafy back off of that leader and opt to go back on Splash. Obviously a very talented player in terms of switching from that leader to that very hyper-aggressive front line. But it is FLIPPA FLOPPA that wins the first engage, getting 3 down on the side of Kagura. And that could be a free first checkpoint.
Oh my goodness, this is looking like FLIPPA FLOPPA is just playing with their foods at the moment. This first checkpoint will be all but gone as we see Kyo on this right side with that Stamper. All the specials ready for FLIPPA FLOPPA and the members of Kagura. What, Kyo, what are you doing? Are you... Okay. I thought he was taunting.
Yeah, Kyo's waiting for the perfect opportunity to use Zipcaster. Obviously, Genie, there it goes. And it goes to try and clear the crab, but the crab is already gone by the time he gets there. And FLIPPA FLOPPA is at that second checkpoint with only Goss standing on the side of Kagura. And Goss goes down. They managed to get that. We are going to be looking straight towards a 10-0 KO, and it happens. FLIPPA FLOPPA, oh my god, excuse me? Losing the tower for just a moment, but that KO finally does happen, and how quickly it does. The tower started in mid and it worked its way towards the KO in the breath of a single push. Genie?
I honestly am astounded, but not really at the same time. At the beginning of the set, we said that who was it that fell asleep? Let me figure that out. But there was a member of Kagura who did fall asleep. Yuichichi fell asleep, and I felt like the entire team was asleep, especially for that last game. But my goodness, FLIPPA FLOPPA. They want to play against Starburst, and they want to do it fast. And I think we just throw it over the gem.
Oof, there is not that much to be said about getting clapped like that at the end. These were very fast matches. They were very dominant matches. FLIPPA FLOPPA just winning their fights. There was a really beautiful moment here for Kyo that I want to point out that it may not show up in the highlight reels because I don't know exactly whether he popped off and got splats for it, but I think it was a really critical moment. Before we get there, though, we've got some skirmishing in mid, and it's generally all going in favor of FLIPPA FLOPPA. Over time, they are able to move a little bit further forward and a little bit further forward, and eventually they all coalesce in this push that starts right about here. All of a sudden, they've got players locking out that left side, that plat area, and we're able to get a... this buffering was actually from the recording. They're actually able to get the crab up onto Snipe. So from here, the strongest defensive position that you can probably take if you're Kagura to try and lock them out from this position is to go onto your right-hand side, your right side plat. So this area right here. Because that is going to keep the enemy team looking both this way and this way at the same time. And with them being distracted in those two different directions, now they have to be a lot more careful existing in this area right here because you never know where you're actually going to get attacked from. Problem is, we've got a crab tank. It controls all of this. So the best that Kagura can get right now is down here, underneath the ledge at height disadvantage. This is just not a winning position. You've really got to keep at least this kind of position available to you. Otherwise, you're going to get scored on a lot, and that is exactly what happens here on this push. We bring in the power clam. We bring in a bunch of other single clams. We still have a clam courier going back into mid to bring in more. Nobody is down on FLIPPA FLOPPA until the booyah gets shredded. It's just dominance. And we also got the ad recorded, which is a beautiful moment in the history of the game. There was a moment here that I wanted to point out about a great flank from Kyo that I believe happens... I might be a little bit past it here. Right here. Kyo has now zip-casted into the enemy team, and they have been moved from... Oops. I thought that was paused. They have been moved from starting to coalesce right here to push in this way to scattering in all four directions because of this one player diving in. And that right there gives FLIPPA FLOPPA a lot more time to work with. So, really great play there from Kyo. The play here was just absolutely dominant. We had Nyagora pushing up far further than any rational person should play with a heavy splatling, and by the end of the game, it felt like a spawn camp. So, really well played from Flippa Floppa and the Tower Sturgeon match. What is there more to say than they got picks, they got specials, they put themselves in the absolute perfect places, and they knocked the game out using those specials. It was textbook. If you want to see how a push should look, just go and watch this one over again a couple times and talk with your team about how you can make this kind of a thing happen.